New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Well, good evening to everyone across the United States and also around the world. It is time once again for another thrill-packed, fun-filled, and guaranteed, always exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'm broadcasting this evening from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, in a very secure concrete bunker, somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret, and so highly fortified that only one person knows where I'm located. Everyone else, including and especially that Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, my boss here at the New Thought Media Network, he has no clue where I'm located. Now, once in a while, I know that they send out the radio trucks to try to find me, but they have no idea where I'm located, and we're going to keep it that way. Well, we do have a wonderful show for you this evening here. Please feel free to interact with us by posting your comment either on Facebook or on YouTube. And all my shy people out there, I know you're out there and you don't want to comment. I got that. All you need to do is write me, Pastor Michael Mangus, at gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com there. I read those during the week and not during the show, though, because I have too many other things to do. And so pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. So the purpose of our fireside chat is for everyone to get a warm beverage and to join us around the fire to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on in the world. The views and opinions expressed are those of my own and also of my guest, Jeff Radcliff. They do not represent the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, Divine Science International, and or any other group that we're affiliated with. The whole purpose here is to have you start thinking about the world and also about your part in helping to change consciousness. And once again this week, with his trusty dog,
oh my God,
Lily the Wonder Dog. It is from his secret bunker somewhere in Tennessee, the Reverend Jeff Radcliff. Good evening, sir.
Hey, say hi, Lily. Wave at him. Say hi.
Woof, woof. She has a lot to say tonight, doesn't she?
She does. That's why she wanted up here, because I told her there's a housefly got in from outside. And so she's been chasing him around all day, not realizing that he doesn't want to play. So she was sitting there whining about it a little bit ago. And I said, you've got to be quiet because I'm going to be doing the radio show with Reverend Michael. Right. And so that's when she goes, oh, it's my turn to shine. And so she wanted to jump here with me. So here she is, just briefly.
Aw. And if you'd like to send in doggy treats, send them to Reverend Jeff Radcliff. He'll be more than happy to pass them on to Lily.
Yep, Lily likes her dog treats. That's for sure.
Little extra dog treats.
Yeah.
All right. I want to say hello to, they may be watching tonight. That's okay. So, as you all well know, I do weddings here in Northeastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, also in the panhandle of West by God, Virginia. And
is that necessary?
What? West by God?
Yeah. Can't you just say West Virginia like normal people? The people that usually say West by God usually have a veiled insult going along with that.
Okay. Well, there is no insult, but I will
I
will be politically correct and only say West Virginia.
I think I'm probably the only native-born West Virginian who that offends, but I do find it a tad offensive.
Well, please forgive me.
Oh, cross my palm with silver, all's forgotten.
Anyhow, you're messing up my story here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, this mom was looking for a pastor for her daughter's wedding. And so they go ahead and the mom tells the daughter, and they go ahead and they look me up online.
Okay.
And they find the Friday evening Fireside Chat.
Oh, uh-oh. And they still booked you?
And they still booked me.
Jump.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of all the things I could have said,
you could have said
the safest.
Okay. You notice I'm all in black tonight.
Yeah, I see that.
I took off my collar because I did a wedding earlier, so I usually wear a collar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and that protects me from fleas for 30 days.
So mom and daughter who found Fireside Chat, the wedding, I guess, is still in the future. It hasn't happened yet?
No. It hasn't. Not yet.
Okay. So you still have plenty of time to get prepared for their wedding. That'll be cool.
Absolutely. No, we will be ready here.
Good.
It'll be in about a month. Yeah. So anyhow, who's ever watching, good evening. Thank you for the booking. We still appreciate it, even though that I tend to be on the liberal progressive side of Christianity and also spiritual thought. But hey,
Now, when you move into West Virginia, you need to drop that liberal spiritual stuff and let everybody know I'm just a Bubba.
I'm just a Bubba, huh?
I'm just a Bubba.
Now, can I wear my flea collar down there, you think?
You probably could. As you know, it was West Virginia that helped John Kennedy become president back in the early 60s. And he was our very first Catholic president. And so with that, for us, is a badge of honor that we helped to get the first Catholic into the White House. So yeah, wear the collar. They won't know any different, but it's fine.
Well, again, the reason I wear it is I wear a clergy collar when I go out and full clergy.
So do I, and so do I, by the way. So,
but the reason I wear it is to keep the ticks away, though. That's the reason. All right, we're just kidding around here because guess what? It is time for the news.
And the news is serious enough that we
There-
need to actually throw some levity into it. So.
Jeff, it was a slow news week, wasn't it?
I was bored stiff. I mean, I was like waiting for something to happen, you know?
All right. Okay. Here you
This
go.
happened.
Vice President Kamala Harris made history on Thursday evening when she accepted her party's presidential nomination on the fourth and final night of the Democratic National Convention. Harris's ascension makes her the first Black woman and also the first Asian American to lead a major party ticket. In her keynote, Harris evoked her experience as the eldest daughter of immigrants and vowed to be a president for all Americans, while describing the November election as the most important of our lives of our nation. Additionally, Harris promised a tax cut for the middle class, stronger border security. Now that sounds like something that the other candidate would offer, and to restore reproductive rights. Her speech also cast former President Donald Trump as the enemy of classic American principles, pointing to Project 2025 as a blueprint of what he could do second term. Your comment, Jeff Radcliff.
Well, I've seen a lot of people commenting online about how she didn't go into any depth with her policy ideas. And your mileage may vary. You may disagree with me, but I don't think that the convention is the place to do that.
No.
The convention is the place to say, hey, here I am. Here's a little bit about me and what I want to do and how I plan to get there. It's if you want big policy statements like that, elect her and then, or elect him, whatever. But the convention is more like it's to get us revved up and ready to go for the election. It's not the time and the place for like the really big, heavy stuff. She can do that in a debate. She can do that if she sits down for an hour with CNN or MSNBC or somebody and do it. Barbara Walters, rest her soul, would have given her platform. And that's where we could have found a lot more of the meat of her policies.
I already have scheduled the evening of the 10th. Already. I have my popcorn bowl. I'm going to fill it full of popcorn. And I'm going to sit in front and watch Kamala Harris wipe the floor of Donald Trump.
Presidential debates make for great drinking games because you drink whenever somebody tells a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they give the floor to certain individuals, you can be sure you're going to be drunk off Balaam's donkey.
Balaam's donkey. Now again, this is a spiritual program. Balaam's donkey, that is a scriptural reference. So if you can find the scripture, we'll give you a prize if you just put it in the comments. Let's see.
But it was a good time. The convention was a good time. I mean, I'm not going to repeat what I put on Facebook about it, but having the Dixie Chicks, or the Chicks now, as they're known,
right?
This was the second presidential, the Democratic convention where they performed the Star Spangled Banner. They did it in 2020, and they did it again 4 years later. Sheer genius, in my opinion, particularly since 20 years ago they spoke their minds and were blacklisted from country music for years. So that was a stroke of genius. Pink last night. Oh my God, Pink, amazing. her performance was just simply incredible. Stevie Wonder.
Okay,
this whole convention has been good. I had a good time during this whole convention.
Reverend Brzezinski is chiming in here. He says, I think the reference you are looking for is from Clowns 1, 4, verse 20.
Oh, my goodness. Don't laugh at him. You're just encouraging him. Don't laugh at him.
Well, anyhow, we are getting comments this evening, and Wayne Baldwin is sharing with us that he thinks we should reach for the stars.
And I agree with that.
And I agree with that too. And here you go. This is from I kidded with her. I said, you are her gay boyfriend. But this is from Diana. Hi, Jeff, Michael, and Lily.
Yep.
I think it's important that she included Lily.
It is. It's awesome.
Okay. And she is a new hope for the USA. Thank you. Talking about Kamala Harris.
No, she's talking about Lily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Reverend Jim has joined us. Reverend Jim Webb. How about
that? Jim Webb is with us this evening. Yes. I'm enjoying your show while I should be getting the revisions of my new book out to print. Well, Jim, you're allowed to.
It's only an hour, Jim. You can hang out.
Jim, it's only an hour. And could you get us the scriptural reference for Balaam's donkey? Again, this is what clowns see. Now, I don't think I read the Old Testament, or what's also called the Jewish Bible. I don't think there's a book of clowns in there.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the clowns on the one side, the jokers to the right. No, it's not there.
Here I am stuck in the middle. Hold on here.
It's in the 22nd book of Numbers, by the way. Don't forget where I came from originally. I used to preach in a Pentecostal church. If I don't know my Bible, I was done for.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Can I get a witness this evening? Yes, Reverend Jim says to our comment, he says he'll try. Okay, that's good enough. So, all right, we'll go back to the news, maybe. We're having a good time here. Well, faith abounds at the Democratic National Convention, but don't be surprised. Now, sitting for an interview at the RNC, that's the Republican National Convention in July, Carolyn Sunshine. Isn't that a wonderful name? Carolyn Sunshine.
Yes.
A communication staffer with the Donald Trump campaign, laid plain what she thinks of Democrats and faith. Sunshine told Fox News, I think the left is godless. Wow. But that claim was hard to square with what happened on Monday night, August 19th, when the Democratic National Convention kicked off in Chicago. And for several hours, speaker after speaker not only leaped praise on Democratic White House hopeful Vice President Kamala Harris and also her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, but also referred to religion, scripture, and faith, with at least one supporter delivering a Bible-filled address that pundits referred to as a sermon. Let me see who. There you go. That's the right one. Oh, I forgot one. Well, we'll go back to that in just a moment here. But anyhow, the article goes on very long. But even so, it says, looking ahead, religion is likely to come up again in and around the convention hall, in addition to religious-themed side events, including the DNC's own Interfaith Council. Again, primetime speakers such as former President Barack Obama, and also others, made references. And he says, so too may Waltz, which I think he did. But even if they don't, religion is still likely to pop up several times between now and when the DNC wraps on Thursday, if for another reason than to counter the religious rhetoric used by Republicans, some of who have embraced Christian nationalism. Yeah. So he says, this is Republican Warnock, Reverend Warnock. He says, I think it's important, particularly those of us in the Democratic Party, to be full-throated in the ways our faith informs our values. He said, we have got to be full-throated in resisting this idea of Christian nationalism.
Can't argue with that.
But we're godless. No.
I can't argue with that, because there's not a one of us who is godless, because God being everywhere equally and evenly present within its creation, and we are all a part of that creation. None of us is godless. It's just some of us don't express that divinity as well as we could.
Okay, now hold on here. Reverend Jim Webb, who has more degrees than God, he says, Numbers 21, God put the words of Balaam in Balaam's donkey mouth. After this encounter, Balaam started, well, I have to come to you now, Balaam replied, but I can't say whatever I please. I must speak only what God puts in my mouth. And he says that's Numbers 22. Thank you, Reverend Webb. We have biblical confirmation this evening. See, there's other Bible scholars out there, other people who actually do read the Bible. Well, listen, here you go. This is a good one.
Stop. Did you see who just came in the room? Did you see who is in the house?
Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, we better behave here. Between God and me, there is no between, Meister Eckhart.
There you go.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Raymond.
Yeah, Reverend Dr. Ray. He's in the house.
Yeah, he's in the house. Okay. Getting back.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but last week, Divine Science Federation International had a brief one-day online conference, and Reverend Ray spoke to us and was incredibly. If you have never heard Raymond Anderson speak, you have got to seek this man out, because you will not leave the table hungry. You will be spiritually fed. And he was awesome. So shout out to Reverend
Ray. And he's laughing at you.
No, he had that up.
Oh, here you go. Okay. And he says, oh, I'm truly honored.
As well, he should be, because we don't ask just anybody to speak, you know.
Well, if calling us a bunch of godless heathens, Mercy Culture Church, Pastor Landon Schott says you're not a Christian if you vote for a Democrat. Landon Schott, who's the senior lead pastor of the multi-campus Mercy Culture Church in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, doubled down on Tuesday morning on the controversial declaration made Monday that Americans who vote Democrats are not Christians. This is what he says. He says, I'm not a big Trump guy. I'm not a Republican, but there's only one party that is standing up at their convention saying that we're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And he said, listen to me clearly. I know people don't like this because most people aren't pastored. Most people aren't confronted spiritually. And most pastors just care if people show up and give. And if they show up and give, then they don't care. Schott said in an Instagram video. He says, I could care less. That's what he said. He says, I don't really care if you like me. I don't care if you go to our church. I care that you know God and that you're right with God. And if you think that aligning with a party that is flippantly murdering children and celebrating it, friend, you are not on the Lord's side. Oh, he has more.
You can stop right there because I don't have an airsick bag anywhere handy.
Well,
he has twisted scripture around so much that it looks like a pretzel.
Well, you ain't seen nothing. He's not done. Okay.
Well, he needs to be. He needs to be. First of all, Roe has already been overturned. This is not a future event. It has already taken place. It was in the past. It was last year.
Right.
When it was returned to the states. It is no longer in effect. It is not called Roe v. Wade anymore.
Right.
So when he's saying we will overturn it, he's living in the past.
Well, that's
what they want to go back to. They want to go back to when when America was great. They want to go make America great again. How far back do they need to go to do that? The 1950s, the 1850s, the 1450s. You probably should not have put him and me on the same screen at the same time. Now I'm worked up.
Okay.
I'm going to lay that at your doorstep.
Okay. Well, I'm going to work you up some more here. Citing Romans 1 and Revelation 3, he wrote, I've been asked over and over again, Pastor Landon, are you saying that you're not a Christian if you vote for a Democrat? And he puts this in all caps. He says, let me be very clear. That is correct. If you're not a Bible-believing, Jesus-following Christian, if you support the godless Roman 1 evil of the Democratic Party, please stop pretending that you're a follower of Jesus. You're simply a lukewarm, pretend Christian. I will not. Now, he's not the only one.
No, he's not.
Now, Pastor Alton Williams of the World's Overcomer Outreach Ministry Church in Memphis made comments along the same lines during a recent sermon, saying he could not vote for a party that is for all kinds of sexual perversions. He said that I can't vote for a party that's going to accept transgenders going into women's restrooms. He added, I just can't do it. I just can't go with the party that wants to cut little girls' breasts off to make them boys. I just can't go with the party that says that you can be a boy today and a girl tomorrow. I can't support a party that wants to remove God from its party platform. You're in trouble when a nation forgets God. I don't know where to start here and how many points of wrong is there.
That man has got so much baggage, we don't have time to unpack it all. But I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
He's another one that's wrong. You can't be a boy today and a girl tomorrow or vice versa. This is a process that takes years of counseling.
Right.
Mental health counseling, physical, medical counseling. It takes a long time. And they don't do this to people under the age of 18.
Yep.
You can do puberty blockers. That's one thing in preparation for it, but they are still doing this in Congress, or not in Congress, I'm drawing a blank on the word. They're doing it in concert with what their physician is telling them, with what their psychiatrist is telling them. They've got a whole team, a whole host of people that are in this. This is not just some kid at age 12 walking into the doctor's office and saying, change me. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely not. And they forget that in this argument. Raymond Anderson says, he said, What does one do when a liar blasts you and accuses you of your inability to tell the truth? Godless, they doth protest too much, methinks, from William Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Yep.
See, and again, I really don't understand individuals getting up there, especially with a name of your church called Mercy Culture.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to touch that one, but I'm glad.
Well, you can. I mean, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. So where is their mercy there, Pastor? Huh? Where is their mercy there? Getting up there and just saying that because you vote for a particular party that we're godless. We had speaker after speaker after speaker talk at the Democratic National Convention about their faith and about how important it is to them, and also how important it is not to press their beliefs on other people, but just to love them. Your comments, Jeff Radcliff.
Jesus, the Bible talks about when Jesus sent his disciples out. He said, you go and spread the word. He said, go knock on doors, go to these different towns. But if people don't accept what you have to say, don't sweat it. Don't try to shove it at them. He said, just shake the dirt off your shoes and move on. And in another part, he talked about not casting your pearls before swine, which is a little snarky, but it's saying basically the same thing. Is don't waste your time with these people. If they don't want to hear you, that's fine. Just move on. Interesting that comes from the same book that these people seem to revere, as long as other people are following it, but they don't have to follow it themselves. Instead of shaking the dirt off their shoes, they want to shove that Bible right down our throat.
It's going to be interesting.
The same thing that they say that we are doing. It's called projection. I learned that when I was in social work school.
I think it's going to be interesting, especially at Akron Pride tomorrow, that I wonder who's going to show up with their Leviticus signs.
Mm-hmm. And and I don't know how many Pride events you've ever been to.
Okay.
I've been to a few. Okay. And they've always got that one street corner blocked off for the uber Christian, what's a good word? I'm coming up with so many good words, but
street preacher.
No, I can only use so many of them before I get kicked off the air. Disapprover. These are disapprovers. None of them look happy. If they believe that heaven is their home and they're on their way and they are blessed by God in all things, you'd think that they'd be a little more happy. But none of them smile. They all look like they are sucking on lemons or whatever. If that's what heaven's going to be like, I'd rather go to the other place where it's a lot more fun.
Dr. Raymond says this evening, fanatics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How being on a street corner, yelling at people, how is that going to usher them into a belief that is more in line with yours? I don't know.
Yeah. Just like arguing with somebody on Facebook or on any other social media platform. Nobody has changed their mind and say, oh, look, Reverend Jeff said I should do this. By darn, I'm going to do that. Nobody does that. They've already got their minds made up.
Well, we need to take a break here.
No.
For a paid commercial announcement.
Good.
Well, we'll take a short one here because Diana will shoot me if I don't read this. Okay. Well, good evening to everyone. You're watching the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. Good to have everyone with us this evening. please join us in the comments. We're having a very lively chat this evening. If you're wondering where I park myself on a Sunday morning, I park myself at Summit CSL. For more information, go to that web address, summitcsl.org. There you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. I know it's early, but it's worth it. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso. We do have one of the best services I've ever seen in New Thought. And this Sunday, we'll have as our special guest speaker, our music director, and also our staff theologian, the Reverend John Miller. So go to summitcsl.org for more information on that. And again, thank you so very much. Okay, time for us to take a quick, and I mean quick break, and we will be right back. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
Along with Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and we are giving our usual comments about the news. And here's the story
now that you've taken a break and kind of cooled me down a little bit.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out. I love when Reverend Robert is reading the list of the sponsors that go through there. And I want to give a special shout out to Centers for Spiritual Living Midtown, who, out of the goodness of their heart and probably a little wonkiness in there somewhere, invited. Hey, I have a backstory that goes along with this. Have invited me to share with them on a Sunday next month. Actually, one of the women on the speaker committee took a class with me that a public speaking class, actually, which at the end of it, I botched royally, only because I was still just a couple of weeks out of gallbladder surgery. I was still on narcotics, and I should have known not to try to do this. But, one of the class projects was to deliver a short talk, and I just went hither and yon and everywhere. And I was like, shut up, Jeff. In the back of my head, I'm hearing myself tell myself, you need to stop. And I couldn't. But she saw beyond that to all the other good talks that I delivered during the class. And then when the opportunity came up to book me, she sent me an email and she said, would you please come and speak to us? And so I'm like, okay. So, hey, CSL Midtown, I'm looking forward to seeing you in about a month.
And Diana is always saying to me, shut up.
Yeah, and you'll notice when I was there for you all, she never told me that.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying.
But she said, I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago, and she says, a little long,
Oh,
but it was still a good talk. I have to listen to her because she is technically the head of
yeah,
CSL.
yeah.
All right.
So
Let's get back into the news. This is one I forgot. So the Supreme Court on Thursday blocked parts of an Arizona law that would enforce some proof of citizenship requirements for the November election. In a partial win for the Republicans, proof of citizenship will be required for new voters in certain circumstances. However, voters who cannot document their citizenship status will still be allowed to register using a federal form. So from what I understand, this is not at the voting booth. This is at the Board of Elections, from what I understand. The Republican National Committee and also the GOP lawmakers have asked the High Court to step into the clash over election rules in the state in a case that elevated non-citizen voting, an issue that Republicans have tried to put in front and center of this year's campaign. Arizona is critically important for the 2024 presidential election. President Joe Biden carried the state with just over 10,000 votes in 2020, and former President Donald Trump won it in 2016. That's why I'm saying everyone needs to make sure that they know the election laws wherever that they're at. And to, again, if you are discriminated against, please, or your name was just erased off of the voting rolls, then the place to confront it is not the day of. So now is the time to start checking to make sure that you're registered to vote in the state. Now, again, this is going to be interesting to see what happens if Arizona comes into play as far as deciding the election, because it could this time. Go ahead.
But you know what? They're not asking. As liberal as I am, I don't have a lot of disagreement with what they're saying. All they're asking is that we show proof of citizenship. I had to do that when I moved from West Virginia to Tennessee. It wasn't enough to say, oh, I'm living at such and such an address. Here's my new driver's license, which proves where I live. They wanted to also see something that showed that I was eligible to vote. And if you are getting a job with anybody, you have to go through the IC9 or the I-9 identifiers, so in essence, this law or whatever that they were asking the Supreme Court to rule on, it's really not changing anything because those are already in effect.
Yes.
What they're trying to do, though, is throw up a smoke screen, because they've also got fake electors and they've got election deniers already ensconced in positions of power in these election boards. So what they're trying to do is just kind of throw up a smoke screen to draw your attention away from the fact that they've already got Trump supporting, MAGA loving people there who are going to try to make sure that as few Democratic votes are cast as possible. This is all just a ploy.
Right. And that, okay, so let's say that I am of Hispanic descent.
Okay.
And I'm not registered to vote.
Okay.
And I go into my local Board of Elections in Arizona. And I say, I'm an American citizen. And they will say, well, what is your country of origin? And I say, well, it's America. How am I to prove otherwise?
Do you have a birth certificate?
Yes, I do.
Okay. show your birth certificate. If you are of Hispanic descent, which means you did not come from that place, you were born here of people who at some point did originate somewhere else, then you've got no issue other than the fact that you just need to show that you are an American citizen. You do that with a birth certificate. Yeah,
Okay.
not a big deal. Now, if you are coming into this country and you have not gotten your citizenship papers, then you don't have the proof that it's going to take to be a voter. They realize that, and these people are not they're not breaking down the doors trying to cast votes. That's a Republican conspiracy theory and myth that does not happen. It does not happen. Just like they talk about how high the crime rate is when it comes to immigrants or migrants coming into the country. It's very low because these people know that if they do something stupid, they get caught and they get arrested, they're going to get deported.
Absolutely.
And that defeats the whole idea of them being here so that they can make money to send back to support their family who is living in poverty somewhere else. Don't be stupid, people. I mean, and I'm sorry, that is a stupid position to take, to say we've got all this crime due to people with brown skin coming up from the South.
That is not true.
That is not true. They are not lined up getting ready to cast ballots. They know they can't do it. They're not even trying. I mean, you can tell the lie over and over and over again. Eventually, some people are going to start to believe it. But thinking Americans, those of us who have not so totally sold our brains to the highest bidder, are going to realize that that's just a bunch of bunk.
Again, it's going to be interesting. I think that proof of citizenship should only be done at when the individual goes ahead and registers to vote, not the day of the election, and not to have somebody come up and challenge the vote. You better believe that what's going to happen here is that both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, are going to have poll watchers out there. I've been a poll worker and have had to put up with some serious crap from these individuals. I've cleaned it up, Reverend Robert, okay? But some serious guff because, again, they weren't following the rules that they were supposed to do, which was to not interfere with the election process and just to watch us.
But
that's what they don't. And again, they're sneaky. They'll come up with these big thick books, which are not the laws. Well, it's the laws as they understand them, but like they'll go ahead, they'll open the book and then point to a law. All right. And then and then now they're not supposed to tell you anything, but they're telling you by pointing in a book. So again, the influence that goes on, my concern is in Arizona and other places is that it doesn't happen the day of that.
Yeah.
If they have gone down to their board of elections and they have registered to vote, there they can show proof of citizenship.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're on the rolls and they need to stay there.
Yeah.
So
now, and I know that there are some places, now West Virginia is not one of them, and fortunately Tennessee is not, because they expect you to actually show your voter registration card as well. I haven't had to do that, but that is something that needs to be done. And if you don't have it, a lot of places will tell you you're not allowed to vote. Well, that's not true either, because you have that registration card. You may not have it on your person. You are still allowed to vote a contested ballot. And a lot of contested ballots most contested ballots don't get thrown out. A very slim number of them do, because there's where your voter fraud is. And if you take a look at the numbers from the last several elections, there has been a minute number of voter fraud cases anyway, but the majority of the minute number of cases come out with an R after their name. So what does that tell you?
So what we're sharing with you this evening is the most powerful thing that you can do this November is to vote. And again, to make sure that you're registered to vote, and please go vote your values. Vote your spiritual values. That's all we're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
But go vote. Don't let anyone try to deny you. Now, what Jeff was talking about, in some cases, it's in some jurisdictions, it's called a provisional ballot.
Yeah.
I would say, though, that to do your homework, make sure that you are in the right precinct to vote, and also that you are registered to vote. Do that before you go to the polls so that you can vote a regular ballot.
Yeah.
All right.
Do what you can to avoid having to cast a provisional ballot in the first place. That means, like you said, making sure you're registered and everything's up to date, current, legal, whatnot. If you need to carry that card with you, stick it in your pocket before you go. Do everything you can in order to avoid having to have your ballot contested.
Absolutely. All right. One more.
All right, one more. One more? Is that all we have time for? One more? Okay, get to it.
One more. Evangelicals hit Trump. Texas lawmaker says he does not represent Christian values. The same young man that we talked about last week, Texas State Representative James Tallarico, is speaking out against the GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump, using the unlikely platform of the Christian Broadcasting Network to make his case. By using CBN's highly targeted reach, Tallarico actually is aiming at a very powerful audience of evangelicals that helped fuel Trump's rise. Pat Robertson. In many cases, by holding their ethical noses and prioritizing anti-abortion legislation over respectable character, Tallarico is now asking his fellow Christians to reconsider Trump in the revealing light of the tenets of their Christianity, and to remember the example of Jesus when they enter the voting booths in November. I could go on, which I'm not. However, that the article failed to talk about that the whole segment was about evangelicals for Kamala. That he only had maybe less than a minute in there. However, they went ahead and they did not edit his comments that much. They went ahead and they gave forth his argument about that. So it was interesting. And I forget, it's Pat Robertson's son, and I forget the guy's name. Yeah. So anyhow, so he comes on and he says, well, let's remember that Jesus is coming soon. And Jesus doesn't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Are you talking about Gordon?
I don't know. I don't know his name. He took over Tim. For Pat.
Or Tim, yeah.
I think it's Tim.
Yeah.
But again, it does not make any sense to me why individuals who hold a Christian belief are going ahead and just not using any type of logic at all and going ahead and saying, okay, well, I don't like the man. However, that he promotes our agenda. And that's the reason why I'm going to vote for him. I don't understand. Because Trump has already said, go ahead.
Read your Old Testament. Read about King David, because he was a man very much after Donald Trump's example. He's out here Well, first of all, he was carrying on like trash with the king's son at one point, which, they definitely go hog wild over that one. But then he's out peeping on his on one of his general's wives as she's taking a bath, starts up having an affair with her, starts some hot and heavy affair with her, so much so that he ends up sending her husband out into battle, into a place where he knew he would be killed. So that technically is murder. And they use David as the example. Well, God used David, and look how flawed he was.
Well, they also point out about King Cyrus.
Yeah. So I can't bend myself. I'm not that flexible to bend myself to the lengths that they are in order to come to some of the conclusions that they have. You just can't do it. The only thing that I can do at the end of the day, even after I get worked up in a conversation like this, is to stop and take a breath and remember that no matter what it looks like, God is all there is, and God is expressing through them as well as through me. We may not be in agreement with mundane earthly thoughts and things of that nature, but in the end, we are still one with one another.
Absolutely.
And we can't lose. And I don't know about anybody else. I speak only for myself. I know that I temporarily lose sight of that.
No.
But at the end of the day, stop that. But at the end of the day, I come back to my senses and I realize, you know what? I could have done better. Tomorrow's another day. I'm going to sleep on this and we're going to start it all over again. But at that moment, I can also say, yeah, they drive me around the wall. They drive me batch crazy. But there's still another me.
Right.
We are one in spirit.
And so
that's the only thing that keeps me sane during days like this.
And also, I think to keep our country in prayer. And the prayer is for love. That divine love opens the hearts of individuals from around the country. Exactly. It's not asking to change. It's just saying that divine love is now operating within them. So guess what?
We are out of time. And did you realize that this is the second week in a row that you've had me on uninterrupted? Nobody's showing up in between, anything like that. This is the second time within the past couple of weeks that I've been on. This is getting to be a habit.
You're probably wanting to get paid, right? Is that?
That was not where I was going with this. I was just saying that this is the second week in a row that I have been here. So
yeah.
Next week we'll start talking if I'm here. But knowing you'll find somebody else.
Well, we even had people watching this evening, which is interesting. So maybe one of them was Robert.
Well, Robert was here earlier. Wayne's been here the whole time. I don't know if Diana's still here. But
Robert gets kudos for his biblical reference, though.
Yeah, and we also had Reverend Jim and Reverend Ray. So hey, yeah,
and we had all the Revs this evening.
We had the Revs were kicking butts and taking names.
All right, thank you. Like always, Reverend Jeff. Pleasure. Always appreciate your comment, and again, you have a wonderful weekend here. And folks, it is time for us to leave. Yeah, thanks for joining us this evening, especially all those people joining us live. I'm glad that you are sticking with us and that you like our new format rather than me read 20 minutes of news. Again, we kind of comment on the news as we go along. But again, to know and again to be in prayer for our country and also for the world. Again, that divine love opens the hearts of individuals because, again, that's what will change people. Again, when people get in touch with their own heart. On behalf of all of us here at the New Thought Media Network, I'm Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'm going to wish you a very pleasant good night and also a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.